Hey everyone, I'm Hayden, and here's the new games that came out on Game Pass this week. All of these are games that are cloud enabled and playable on your phone. This week we have 4 newly added games and 4 games that are leaving that you might want to check out if you haven't yet. This is going to be a little longer than most weeks, so let's get right into week 24 of what's new on Game Pass. First up this week is The Wild at Heart. This game is almost an indie spiritual successor to Pikmin. You can befriend strange creatures called Spritelings to help you manage your way through the strange world. Each different type possesses unique abilities to deal with specific situations, whether it be destroying something blocking your path, or defeating enemies, or solving puzzles. There is also a robust crafting system where you make new tools and upgrades with items found around the world. The art style is gorgeous, and this is one I definitely want to be playing more. Next is Conan Exiles, a multiplayer survival game. This one I'm really not too excited about. From everything I and others have experienced is an uninspiring combat system in a game with a focus on combat, and monotonous lengthy trips to gather resources. While this could be seen as adding to the survival nature of the game, I believe it could be turned into a much more enjoyable game. If the developers take audience feedback and fix these key issues, I think it could be a very fun experience. The world design and base making system is actually really cool and makes for some great visuals. Next up, For Honor. If you haven't already heard of this one, it's actually pretty awesome. This is a multiplayer action fighting game where you play as one of 4 factions. The factions are based on real life cultures and their warriors. You can play as a knight, a samurai, a Viking, or an ancient Chinese warrior. The combat system has been described as simple yet complex. This game has been out for a while now, but there is skill-based matchmaking, so you shouldn't have to worry about getting absolutely demolished every time you play. This is definitely one to try out. Lastly, MechWarrior 5, Mercenaries. The most recent game in the MechWarrior series, this game seems like a blast, pun intended. You can wreck your way through buildings, shoot down other mechs, and fully customize your own. There's plenty of unique locations to keep the gameplay fresh, and different factions you can try to win over for some extra loot. The story, from what I hear, isn't all too impressive, and the voice acting isn't very good. But if you want to just have some fun creating carnage in a giant mech suit, this seems like a great option. And since it's included in your Game Pass subscription, you won't be losing out on anything if you don't like it. And now for the games leaving this week. First up, West of Dead, a twin-stick cover-based shooter set in a Wild West stylized purgatory. This is one I really want to try out before it's gone. It has a ton of style and it seems like a lot of fun. The main character, William Mason, looks like Ghost Rider ditched his motorcycle for a horse and moved out west. William, however, is actually in purgatory, which sets the backdrop for the roguelike system of dying and starting over again. You won't lose all your progress, however. You'll keep any upgrades you had gotten before to help tackle more of the procedurally generated rooms. Next, Wizard of Legend. Yet another roguelike on this list. This one isn't quite as moody, however. This is a bright, colorful, action-packed, and pretty chaotic game set in a world of fantasy and magic. There's over 100 unique spells and items to use as you make your way through the 10 floors of the game. You can also get different outfits and upgrades. The pixel art is really good in this game, and I hope I have time to try it out before it's gone. And now, Night Call, a narrative-driven noir set in Paris. As a cab driver, you have conversations with your passengers to help figure out the real culprit to the crime. The black and white 2D graphics make the noir setting very immersive and sets the tone really well. There's plenty of unique interactions with the characters who visit your cab, and even the ones who haven't committed a crime have some interesting stories to discover. This one is pretty short too, so I think it's worth checking out. And lastly, Observation. This sci-fi thriller has you exploring a seemingly abandoned spaceship to find out what went wrong. This game, like the last, is mostly narrative based and is all about searching through the crew members' belongings that were left behind to discover more about them. The graphics are pretty great considering it is an indie on a budget. Sadly, that meant no motion capture for the lead character making stiff and emotionless faces. But the voice acting is actually really great, which goes a long way to help that. That's all for this week. Let me know what you think about any of these down in the comments. How are you liking Game Pass? What are your favorite games on the service? I'd love to hear about some I haven't tried yet. Lastly, check out our Twitter account for gameplay of the latest releases. But most importantly, remember to always stay 1-up.